Hi everybody, Cami here with my second video on ARM loans. So this video, I'm going to break down all the pieces that you're going to run into when you're considering an ARM and kind of the information that you'll need to know up front. And your lender will provide you with all of this information, but what I find is that if you don't know what it means, then it doesn't mean much. So having that background knowledge, again, when you're considering the ARM, is a great tool to have in your tool belt. So starting right up front, we're going to talk about the initial interest rate. So the initial interest rate is the starting rate that you have when the loan begins. Most ARMs are going to offer you a lower interest rate. That's the benefit. That makes the payment more affordable up front. And then like we talked about in the last video, the rate is set for a fixed period of time. So for example, in a 5-1 ARM, it's set for the initial first 5 years and then adjusts every year after that. In a 5-6 ARM, it's going to be set for the first 5 years and adjust every 6 months after that. So initial rate is that first rate that you start with, and that's fixed for that initial chunk of time. The second term I want to define for you today is index. So the index is basically a published financial indicator like the SOFR or the LIBOR. And this will determine how your rate will adjust once that initial fixed period ends. So the index can move up or down based on the economy, and it introduces the variable part of an ARM loan or adjustable rate mortgage. Next term I've got for you is the margin. So the margin is set by the lender, and it's a fixed percentage that the lender then adds to the index to determine your new interest rate. So if the index is 3% and your margin is 2%, then that adjustment, once the margin is added to the index, then your new rate would then be 5%. So the margin is the percentage that the lender has set that will be added to the index, that published financial indicator that determines what your new rate will be when your rate is adjusting. So the next piece that I want to get into are caps. So we're going to start with a periodic cap. And caps are going to be protections that are built into the loan that limit how much your rate is legally allowed to increase at any one time. So the periodic cap is going to indicate the maximum your loan or your interest rate would be able to increase in one particular adjustment period. So for example, if your cap is 2%, then regardless of what the index is, your rate would not be able to increase more than 2% in one adjustment period. And then we have a lifetime cap. So this cap is going to limit how much your interest rate can increase over the entire life of the loan. So if your interest rate starts at 5% and your lifetime cap is 5%, that would mean that your interest rate could never exceed 10% no matter what happens with the index. So those caps are really important and offer you a little bit of protection and limit how much your interest rate can increase. Now, remember also, with an adjustable rate mortgage, the reverse is also true. So, your interest rate can increase, but it can also decrease. And then the caps are there just to offer a little bit of protection. So just to recap, we have our initial rate, which is the starting rate. We have the index, which changes with the market. and is base, which is a public financial indicator. Then we have our margin, which is set by the lender and added to the index. It's expressed as a percentage added to the index to determine the new interest rate. And then we have caps that protect you from extreme increases in interest rate, both per adjustment period and over the life of the loan. So ARM loans can be great. They can offer you some really great flexibility in the right scenario, but it's really important to understand the terminology that's going to get thrown around. So then when you're reviewing the paperwork, you have a full understanding of what you're agreeing to. If you have any questions, or if you want to see how an ARM might fit into your homeownership plan, feel free to reach out, pop something in the comments, or shoot me a DM, give me a call. If you have any questions for me, any mortgage related questions, I'd love to answer them in a video. So please pop them in the chat or the comments below, or again, shoot me a DM. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. I'm here to help with all things home loans. So reach out. See you next time. Bye-bye.